Star Wars only, I don't know what the fuck your problem is.
Should Star Wars really slow down? You know, after Bob Iger announced that Disney was, for real, being official about it, this isn't from Lucasfilm PR or the inside sources at Lucasfilm and debating whether it's happening or not. This is official by the head of Disney in charge of Lucasfilm saying that, yeah, we are slowing down Star Wars films. Now, this is good for people like me who want a slowdown, but surprisingly, a lot of people that I thought did want to slow down in the Star Wars community have come out and said, actually, why do we want to slow down? Can we still get more Star Wars films? It's like they want the perks of slowing the franchise down without actually having to do it. Because the perks of it is, well, you're going to get more focused movies, and you're not going to get one every year that's probably going to be crap, and they're actually going to reassess what movies they're coming out with. That's great, but I still want them every year. You know, that's the thing. They're like, I still want that 2020 Kenobi film. I still want a Boba Fett spinoff. I still want the Old Republic stuff, but just not Rian Johnson, you know, stuff like that. And so, for a lot of fans, it's kind of, I wouldn't even say bittersweet. I mean, it is kind of bittersweet, you know. It's like, hey, you know, it's kind of sucks because we're not going to get a Star Wars film out there, Episode 9, for a while. But the good news is, well, we're getting better Star Wars films, right? Well, we don't know yet. And so a lot of fans are now kind of regretting their decision and being like, well, man, do I still want Star Wars films? And there's an article that came out today on Cinema Blend that I disagree with wholeheartedly, and it is why Star Wars doesn't need to slow down. And it goes on to talk about that Solo didn't perform badly because of the movie. It's that the expectations put on Solo were too high, which is idiotic in my opinion, because even Rogue One didn't have high expectations, especially not by me. I remember before seeing the movie being like, I don't know, this seems pretty stupid because we all know they're going to get the Death Star plans and we all know they're going to die at the end, so what's the point of this movie at all? I went in and watched it and I was like, you know what, this is pretty entertaining. I saw it a second time and I was like, the characters are pretty boring and pretty bland and pretty forgettable, but the movie itself is pretty fun to watch and it's very enjoyable. It's been 2 years and I forgot all about the movie. Same thing happened with Han Solo. I was like, you know what, this movie looks like it's going to be crap, hopefully it's good, I'll go in, check it out, and I was like, you know what, it's okay. And I forgot about it, and it's only been like, what, 5 months? 4 months? Yeah, 4 months. So, legit, spin-off movies could work for the Star Wars franchise. You know, you have forgettable movies that come out every few years, and people are just pretty okay with them and good with them. And that's okay. Now, I wouldn't mind that. My problem is episodic films like Episode 8 that come in and just completely destroy the franchise. Episode 8 is the reason Han Solo did not do so well. It's one of the big reasons. It's not the only reason. It's one of the big reasons. So, this article also goes on to say stuff about, like, how Star Wars shouldn't be special or doesn't have to be special. And that's what annoys me, is that there's this new idea that is captured perfectly by this article in the community of Star Wars, is that Star Wars fans forget that Star Wars used to be special. Like, literally, this used to be a big culture thing for us, and it still is, but not as much. When it came out in 77 and came out in 80 and 83 with the original trilogy, it was huge. I mean, it broke everything. I mean, it revolutionized the industry. You know, there's countless of movie directors that reference Star Wars as their inspiration. J.J. Abrams and Peter Jackson are one of these directors. I mean, come on. Star Wars changed the way we look at society and changed the way we look at movies. It captured our imagination. It didn't create a world for us to enjoy. It created a world that we wanted to live in. So it's always been special. And then Episode 1 came out in 1999. It was going to be the biggest thing ever, and it was the most anticipated film of all time. And then it came out, and the prequels kind of sucked for a lot of people, so they're like, whatever. But we still held on to the special stuff on the original trilogy. And Star Wars got these great video games. Then the video games are special. You look at Knights of the Republic 1 and 2. You look at the Jedi Knight Academy. You look at Battlefront 1 and 2. These were games that were actually really good and very special. Well, now you have this case of, you get the new trilogy. Not that special, not that unique. You get these new games, not that special, not that unique. So what we do need to make Star Wars still remain something important and somewhat special is not put out something every year. We don't want to be Marvel. And that's what this article is trying to say. The author of it, Dirk Libby, I can't remember his name, but Dirk is basically trying to say that, you know, he wants it to be like Marvel. And he even says in it, he's like, you know, I like the Marvel movies and basically try to be like Marvel. And that's what a lot of Star Wars fans want, is they want Star Wars to be like Marvel. Come out with a good movie every year, and that's it. And just make it all connected in a cinematic masterpiece. I don't want that. Because the problem I have with Marvel movies is I think they're ruining movies in general. Because Marvel movies, believe it or not, and this is going to piss off a lot of people, aren't really that good of movies. They're fun little action blockbuster things that you come out with every few years. And that's fine. They're fun, they're enjoyable, they're okay, but they're not good movies. You know, if you look at it like a movie review, a critical analysis of a movie, they're really not that good. You look at the 3 Thor movies. The first 2 are pretty bad, and the third one's really good. You look at all the Iron Man movies. The first one's okay, and the other 2 are pretty bad. The Ant-Man movie. The first one was really funny and enjoyable, and I could watch it again. The second one was utter and complete trash. Marvel films are hit or miss. They're either okay or they're bad. From time to time you'll get a really good movie like Infinity War or Thor Ragnarok, where they're just funny and good. And Infinity War is more serious, and I like that. But overall, they're not a franchise that in 20 to 30 years I'm like, oh, that was such a special franchise. It was like, oh yeah, that was the era of superheroes where every other year I got a superhero movie, if not every other day. And it was annoying because there was so much to keep up with, but they were okay films. I don't want that with Star Wars. I want to look back on Star Wars in 20, 30 years and be like, wow, these movies sucked, the Solo and The Last Jedi for sure, but these other movies were pretty good, like Episode 9, like the Kenobi film, like Boba Fett. Those were pretty okay, even though they were 3 years apart. I want that with Star Wars. I want them to keep a distance between their movies, and I want them to focus on the quality and not the quantity of movies. I don't care if you come out with a film every year like Marvel does, as long as it's good. And as long as you don't oversaturate the franchise, because this franchise used to be special. So I don't want that to happen with Star Wars. And them try to become like Marvel when it's its own thing. It's always been its own thing. The problem with modern day movies is everybody's trying to be Marvel. Back in the day, it used to be you come out with a movie and that was it. I don't know if any of y'all remember this because I wasn't even alive for it, but Flash Gordon came out and it ended with Emperor Ming being like, oh, ha, 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 I'm still alive. And it's like, oh, there's going to be a sequel. Never happened. Never happened. And for good reason. I mean, it's a solid, okay movie from back in the day. You leave it like that. It inspired movies like Star Wars. You can look at George Lucas. He grew up off of Flash Gordon. So, I don't need anything else for Flash Gordon. And that's what modern day movies don't do anymore. You have a Godzilla universe. You have a DC universe coming out. You have a monster universe. You have the Ghostbusters trying to make their own universe. An Avatar universe. It's all these universes are popping out like crazy. It's pretty annoying. And that's what Star Wars doesn't need to become. It doesn't need to become another Marvel franchise where every year and every few months you're getting another Star Wars movie just because it's Star Wars and it's going to make them a lot of money. No, you need it to come out every few years. You need to keep it special, make it memorable for people, make it an actual good film. I don't like Rian Johnson as a director. I don't like what he did with The Last Jedi at all. But let's be honest here. If he had a co-writer and he had a co-director or something, or let's just say he only directed but didn't write at all, I probably would go see a Star Wars movie made by him, if that was the case. But the problem with The Last Jedi was you gave him, his own writing and his own directing. He had full control over a movie, and he wasn't a big, veteran in the game of directing. So it's like, well, shit, do you really expect a good quality film to come out like that? And Rian Johnson himself said he couldn't write on, a timeline, and that's what they wanted him to do. They wanted him to write on a timeline, and that's why they had delayed the movie by 8 months. So I don't know. I think a problem we have with Star Wars now is that they're expecting it to be like Marvel. It's not Marvel. It's its own thing. And it should slow down. And I'm glad it's slowing down. It needs to. It needs to breathe. That's the problem. You're not letting it breathe. You keep telling it, oh, I want a movie this year. Oh, I want a movie this year. I want a movie this year. And you're not letting it breathe. Let it breathe. When Star Wars first came out, it was 3 years for each movie until you got a new one. Same thing happened with the prequels. And it survived completely fine each time. We need that. We need a 3-year gap between each movie. It's going to suck. I know it's going to suck, but it's going to be worth the wait. Normally. Normally it'll be worth the wait. But, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm happy Star Wars is slowing down. Tell me if you think it should slow down. Sorry this was a long talk, but I just think it's something we need to talk about. So, hopefully Star Wars stays slowing down, and it comes out with a movie every 2 years, maybe 3 years. That's my hope. I don't know about you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this talk we had. I'm Star Wars only. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see y'all next time. May the Force be with you always.